Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Literally in the blink of an eye, the foundation of an entire organization was completely, undeniably fractured. And now, we are witnessing the fascinating, chaotic aftermath. Welcome to NFL Nexus, your premier destination for intense, cinematic dives into the absolute heart of professional football. I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Before we get into this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this explainer, and comment down below with your thoughts as we go. And if you truly want to dive deeper into the gridiron with us and get behind-the-scenes access, support the channel by becoming a channel member. We would absolutely love to have you. Today, we are locking our focus on a franchise that has been completely ripped from its moorings, a team that is currently trying to build something entirely new in the heavy, suffocating smoke of a massive off-season explosion. We are executing an intense, cinematic explainer, analyzing the seismic, tectonic shifts redefining the Cleveland Browns in this 2026 offseason. And we are basing this on the absolute latest ground-level reports coming straight out of Berea. Listen to me, this is not just your standard run-of-the-mill training camp. It's not just guys running drills in shorts. This is a brutal, high-stakes battle for the very soul of a historic franchise.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because the atmosphere surrounding this team right now is incredibly thick. You can practically cut the tension with a knife. Everything changed for this roster following their monumental offseason moves, and it has led directly to absolute legends of the game taking to the airwaves. Look at what Hall of Famer Joe Thomas had to say. He is passionately defending the high-stakes battles that are now ripping through this facility. Listen closely to his words here on the screen. If you're just going to throw him away for a fourth-rounder, it makes no sense. This is the truest quarterback competition in the NFL. Now, you have to understand, Joe Thomas isn't just giving a casual opinion here. He is sounding a massive alarm. He is a guy who bled for this city, who saw every dysfunction imaginable, and he is demanding that the football world pay close attention to the incredibly delicate, razor-thin margins currently dictating this team. When a guy like Joe Thomas calls it the truest quarterback competition in the league, what he means is that there is absolutely no safety net. None. There is no predetermined outcome quietly decided by the front office. Every single throw, every single read, every drop back is being judged under a relentless, unforgiving microscope.
And that brings us to the ultimate lingering question hanging heavily over the stadium: who leads this completely new era of Cleveland football? Think about what has happened here. Their core identity has been fundamentally, irreversibly altered. The front office is actively, aggressively rebuilding in the massive, crater-sized wake of the blockbuster Myles Garrett trade. And we all know that trade was a move that shifted the balance of power across the entire National Football League. You don't just lose a generational talent like Garrett and keep doing business as usual. You just don't. So we have to examine the raw data. We have to push past the rumors, ignore the talking heads, and look at the facts to see exactly who possesses the fortitude, the raw talent, and the sheer, unbending willpower to step into the massive void left behind. This isn't just about replacing a player on a depth chart. It is literally about replacing an entire team's center of gravity. It's about finding a new heartbeat.
Section 1. The Ultimate Quarterback Crucible. Deshaun Watson versus Shedeur Sanders.
At the absolute fiery heart of this tension is a heavily scrutinized, relentlessly analyzed position battle. Head coach Todd Monken has made a definitive, highly calculated, and frankly dangerous decision. He is splitting first-team reps right down the middle, 50-50. Half the time the entire offense belongs to the veteran. The other half of the time it belongs to the young prospect desperately trying to find his footing in the pros. In the NFL, you have to understand, splitting reps like this is essentially a psychological warfare tactic. It forces both men to operate with the terrifying knowledge that a single bad read, a single late throw, could literally cost them their livelihood and their legacy. And this creates a brutal, fascinating collision of realities. On one side of the ring, you have Deshaun Watson, the veteran edge. Just look at the immense volume of his career numbers on your screen. A 66.2% career completion rate, 17,904 career passing yards. Let that sink in. That is miles and miles of moving the chains against the best athletes on the planet. Throw in 123 touchdowns to just 48 interceptions. That is a massive, towering mountain of veteran pedigree. But then, look at the other side of the ledger. You have Shedeur Sanders, the development project. He is fighting tooth and nail to bounce back from an incredibly erratic rookie campaign. His rookie numbers tell a grim story of sheer survival. 1,400 yards, just 7 touchdowns, and a glaring 10 interceptions. But context is absolutely vital here, guys. Sanders was forced into action entirely too soon. He was a development project who was thrown directly into the deep end of the pool without a life vest, taking hits and seeing ghosts. Now, right now in 2026, he is fighting to prove that those brutal rookie scars have finally calloused into true, impenetrable NFL armor.
So the multi-million-dollar question is, how is this high-wire battle actually playing out on the grass right now? Let's look closely at the number 90. In open team drills, with every single camera flashing, reporters charting every throw, and every coach holding a clipboard evaluating their every twitch, Deshaun Watson has aggressively and decisively capitalized on his vast reservoir of experience. He hasn't just survived the pressure, he has executed at an incredibly high level. Out of 133 passes in these team drills, Watson has completed 90 of them. 90. That level of efficiency isn't just a stat. It is a veteran quarterback sending a very loud, very clear, and very intimidating message to both the coaching staff and the front office. I am still the absolute master of this system. I know where the football needs to go before the defense even gets lined up. It's a statement of total, unflinching control.
Which brings us directly to the comparative offseason drill stats. This table brilliantly illustrates the deep complexity of this entire situation. You can see Watson has those 13 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. That is a staggering ratio in a training camp environment where defenses usually have the early advantage. But do not look away from Sanders' column. Look closely at what he is doing. 79 completions out of 113 attempts, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. What observers on the ground are noting, and this is absolutely critical, is that Sanders is rapidly, aggressively closing the gap. He is showing sharply improved pre-snap recognition. He is finally identifying those complex blitz packages and disguise coverages that completely confused and overwhelmed him just a year ago. The game is finally slowing down for him. He is keeping this battle uncomfortably tight for the veteran, and because of this rapid, undeniable maturation, any sudden knee-jerk trade sending Sanders away for a mid-round pick, like a 4th-rounder, just like Joe Thomas warned about, is highly, highly unlikely. He is proving to everyone in that building that he absolutely belongs in this crucible.
Section 2. A defensive youth movement. Filling the void.
Now, the excruciating pressure weighing down on the offense is perfectly symmetrically mirrored by a defense that is desperately charting a brand new course in a post-Myles Garrett world. For years and years, the defensive philosophy in Cleveland was incredibly simple, right? Let your generational Hall of Fame edge rusher completely destroy the opposing offensive coordinator's game plan. That was the whole strategy. But now, that luxury is entirely gone. Vanished. The defense has to become a collective, swarming, highly intelligent, and cohesive unit. They have to somehow replace singular freak-of-nature brilliance with systematic perfection across all 11 guys. And doing that requires an entirely new breed of football player, which brings us directly to the number 58. To build this new, rugged, collective culture, the Cleveland front office knew they had to be bold. They couldn't just sit back and wait. They invested heavily, executing a hyper-aggressive draft day maneuver, trading away picks 70 and 107 to the San Francisco 49ers, just to jump up the board to the 58th overall selection. I mean, tell you, you do not give up multiple mid-round draft assets in today's NFL unless you have identified a player you believe in your core is absolutely foundational to your future. You only make that move for a game changer. And with that 58th pick, they selected Toledo safety McNeil-Warren.
So the crucial point we have to unpack here is who exactly is McNeil-Warren? Why on earth did General Manager Andrew Berry mortgage valuable draft capital to get him in the building? It all comes down to his internal wiring, the makeup of the man. Look at this incredible quote from the rookie. It was 4 years of brotherhood and family. We built something special at Toledo. Now you might be thinking, okay, nice quote, so what? But in the modern, chaotic era of college football, where the transfer portal is a revolving door and massive bags of cash dictate where 99% of players go, McNeil-Warren did something practically unheard of. He famously, stubbornly rejected Power 4 NIL money. He turned down a bigger payday to stay at a Mid-American Conference school. Why? He stayed for loyalty. He stayed for his brothers. That decision alone showcases the exact fierce, unyielding, old-school team-building mentality that Andrew Berry clearly covets as he attempts to rebuild the culture of this locker room from the ground up.
But let's be crystal clear about something. They did not draft this kid just to be a good guy in the locker room. They didn't draft him to be a motivational speaker. Beyond sheer character, he brings punishing, incredibly violent production to the secondary. Look at this athletic profile. 214 career tackles. That tells you he is an absolute heat-seeking missile against the run. He doesn't shy away from contact, he initiates it. 11 tackles for loss from the safety position. That indicates a defensive back who practically lives in the opponent's backfield, disrupting plays before they even develop. 5 interceptions shows the elite ball skills required to completely flip the field and steal momentum in an instant. And then just look at the physical metrics. A pro-ready frame standing at 6'3", weighing in at 203 pounds. Honestly, it's almost surprising he didn't play linebacker with that kind of heavy punishing frame. He offers a massive, deeply intimidating physical presence combined with elite playmaking ability. This positions him perfectly to become the definitive, undisputed new face and tone setter of this defensive backfield for years to come.
Section 3. The roster chopping block. The cost of a new era.
Now, this is where the reality of the National Football League gets incredibly dark and incredibly harsh. With all these new faces commanding high draft capital and massive financial investments being allocated to secure the new core of the team, the cold, ruthless mathematical reality of the league dictates a very tough truth. There is a hard salary cap. There are strictly 53 roster spots, no exceptions. And that means established veterans, men who have poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this city for years, will inevitably be pushed to the absolute brink. Look at how this builds a completely suffocating pressure cooker in the defensive end room specifically. Here is the new hierarchy that has emerged. Right at the top, you have Jared Verse. He is the foundational piece they acquired directly from the Myles Garrett trade. He is the golden child, the chosen successor expected to carry the torch. Right below him, you have Alex Wright, whose future was just officially secured with a massive $33 million contract extension. And then you have Isaiah McGuire, sitting at third on the depth chart, facing an incredibly uncertain, terrifying future as he enters the final non-guaranteed year of his rookie deal. Jared Verse is the shiny new foundation. Alex Wright has the immense financial backing of the front office. And the rotational pieces like McGuire, they are being systematically coldly squeezed right out of the picture.
And honestly, the true tragedy of this brutal business is that McGuire hasn't even played poorly. He hasn't done anything to deserve losing his job. Look at his recent production table over the last 2 seasons. 11 starts, 4.5 sacks, and 19 highly crucial quarterback pressures. He has been a reliable, steady, blue-collar defensive presence. He has done exactly what the coaching staff has asked of him every single Sunday. But in the NFL, being steady isn't always enough to secure your long-term financial future. Especially not when you are a 25-year-old edge rusher steering right down the terrifying barrel of unrestricted free agency. He now finds his back pressed firmly against the wall. He isn't just fighting for playing time anymore. He is fighting for his entire career trajectory, his livelihood, and the absolute final year of his contract. Every snap in camp for him is a matter of professional survival.
Which leads us to the grim reality recently reported by The Athletic. The front office is operating entirely without sentimentality. It is purely business. They are actively prioritizing late-round draft capital before the November trade deadline. The calculation they are making is brutal, but it is incredibly simple. Unless the Browns suddenly decide to secure McGuire with a long-term, lucrative deal, much like they recently did to lock up their own homegrown defensive stars like cornerback Denzel Ward and safety Grant Delpit, McGuire is highly likely to be traded off. They will flip a reliable, hardworking veteran for future cheap draft capital rather than risk losing him for absolutely nothing in free agency a few months later. It is a harsh, calculated, spreadsheet-driven business decision, and it is a reality that hangs over McGuire's head like a storm cloud every single time he straps on his helmet.
Section 4. A franchise on the brink. The final verdict.
When you finally step back from all the individual battles, all the stats, and all the rumors, and you look at the sheer scope of this organizational transformation, it is genuinely staggering. We aren't just talking about a team making a few minor tweaks to the playbook. Every single rep in this incredibly high-stakes quarterback crucible between Deshaun Watson and Shadir Sanders, every single ruthless, calculated roster cut on the defensive side of the ball to make room for the new youth movement, it all carries absolute, monumental consequence. The margin for error for head coach Todd Monken and general manager Andrew Berry right now is precisely zero. None. The future is now. There is no more waiting for next year. There is no more resting on the laurels of past potential or moral victories. The decisions being forged right now, in the absolute extreme blistering heat of this 2026 training camp, will undeniably and irreversibly define the legacy of Cleveland football for the next decade. Think about it. If they evaluate this wrong, if they choose the wrong quarterback, the entire rebuild fails. If they trade away the wrong defensive assets, the fragile new culture collapses. Every single choice they make today is a heavy, immovable brick being laid in the foundation of tomorrow.
As the dust slowly begins to settle on these massive tectonic shifts within the organization, we are all left waiting in agonizing suspense to see exactly what this radical, unprecedented transformation will actually yield when the stadium lights turn on and the regular season finally begins. Will the gamble pay off, or will it blow up in their faces? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Remember, this channel is NFL Nexus. We pride ourselves on bringing you the most detailed, cinematic football explainers on the internet. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and consider becoming a channel member to support the hard work we do here. But I want to hear directly from you down in the comments section before you go. Are the Browns brilliantly and methodically building a long-term dynasty right before our eyes, or are they recklessly tearing down a proven contender? Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one.